and thank you for joining us as we continue to follow the work of the government during its first 100 days in office. In our fourth installment, Marano Isaacs takes us through the accomplishments between days 61 to 80 since the Irfan Ali-led government assumed office.
On October the 6th, Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips handed over licenses to key stakeholders in the telecommunications industry, the Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Company, Digicel and E-Networks. The documents issued were also handed over to the Public Utilities Commission and the Telecommunications Agency.
The telecommunications sector in Guyana is effectively liberalized, and the sector is open for investment.
Representatives from GTT, Digicel and E-Networks welcomed the move by the government.
We've been competing with both E-Networks and Digicel for almost a decade, actually more than a decade. So I think this is a wonderful thing for the customers. We are really going to accelerate the focus on our customers. So I think it's a bright future for the people of Guyana.
Immediately you will see increased competition on things like international calling. We will see immediate competition. I think you'd see increased competition on data services and mobile data services. I think all parties will be making improvements and putting LT in wider communities, and then also there'll be moves to address the remote areas, and then also competition on the long term in terms of residential services as well, including internet. So, the opening of the sector will also possibly bring other entrants into the market as well.
One is that the opportunities here in a liberalized environment. It would add the ability. Our networks are what you call converged networks, so they can do voice, they can do video, they can do data. Today we focus on the internet mainly and video. So I think one of the things we'll have to evaluate now, and we have been evaluating over the while, is adding voice to our networks. We've got a good product suite. It's just now to get it to the consumer at the right price, and that's what liberalization is going to do. It's going to create a competitive environment, and it's going to allow the consumer to ultimately be the beneficiary of.
Guyana's bilateral, regional and hemispheric international engagements were enhanced during the first 100 days of the Dr. Irfan Ali-led government. During the government's 70 days in office, a strategic dialogue and cooperation platform was established between Guyana and Suriname, through which the two countries will implement a number of projects during their time in office. On October 14th, the country welcomed a delegation from Suriname, which was following up on the bilateral talks held between President Ali and Surinamese President Chandrika Prasad Santokhi in August. The two leaders had committed to having a working committee meet in October. That committee was joined by ministers of the various sectors based on the areas of discussion on the agenda. Suriname's delegation was headed by Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Business and International Cooperation Albert Ramdin. He was accompanied by his ministers of Public Works and Public Health, technical officers and other government officials. Just days before the visit, the two countries held a marking ceremony for the construction of the Quarantine River Bridge, which will link the Dutch and English-speaking Guyanas. In the area of health, both Guyana and Suriname agreed to collaborate on several initiatives that will improve healthcare delivery in both countries. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony and his Surinamese counterpart, Minister of Public Health Dr. Amar Ramadan, discussed the COVID-19 pandemic. And I quote, "We have agreed to set up a working committee between Guyana and Suriname to look at all issues relating to health, including COVID-19." End quote. Dr. Frank Anthony told the Department of Public Information following the meeting. Minister Anthony said both countries will seek to ensure that all protocols are in sync when the borders are reopened. The two countries are also seeking to collaborate on services for infectious diseases such as malaria, tuberculosis, TB, and HIV, as well as non-communicable diseases including diabetes, cancer, and cardiovascular ailments, among others. Exchanged hospital services is also being addressed. And I quote, "We do particular types of specialty care, that might not be available in Suriname, and vice versa. Maybe we can send patients to them for specialty care. Those agreements, we will work them out as the joint groups get going. Hopefully, we can see collaboration where we can send patients to Suriname and they send to us, depending on the specialty. End of quote. Dr. Frank Anthony. Guyana and Suriname are also discussing an arrangement where Guyanese doctors and nurses can benefit from training. Suriname offers degree-level specialized courses to its health professionals. Guyana's oil and gas industry has set the country on a path to vast economic transformation. While the government looks forward to the economic boom and positive changes from oil and gas production, it is equally concerned about the safety of its people and natural resources. Hence the establishment of a National Oil Spill Contingency Plan. The Civil Defense Commission in October completed the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan, which gives immediate operational response to any event of spillage of oil and petroleum products into the environment. The plan provides an appropriate system for the monitoring, detecting and reporting of oil and petroleum spills on land and maritime environment. Coordinates scientific support and analysis to determine priority, sensitivity ratings of impacted or threatened areas. Protects public health, welfare and natural resources in order to minimize environmental and economic impact. Establishes a reporting procedure to provide information to all relevant national and international stakeholders, and outlines procedures and implementation mechanisms for immediate response to obtain regional and/or international support, among others. In his policy statement, Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips said the government is aware of the need to preserve and protect the environment from all chemicals that pose a danger to the health of humans and other lives. And I quote, "The government of Guyana sees the importance of developing measures that can aid in the prevention and, if unavoidable, prompt and effective action to minimize the damage which may result from a major oil spill incident. The government sees the need for the inclusion of every stakeholder, including the oil and shipping industries, in preparatory efforts and actions for these contingencies." End of quote. The National Oil Spill Response Plan will be reviewed each year. It will be revised based on experiences from actual incidents, drills, and simulation exercises. The government has made good on its commitment of delivering sustainable housing solutions. Over 350 citizens of Regions 4 and 5 in October received titles and transports for lands during the Housing Ministry's Dream Realized Housing Initiative. At the opening, President Ali's government plans to create sustainable housing with the distribution of at least 50,000 house lots within his first term in office. Expanding connectivity and affordability were two of the main areas first addressed.
It is about connectivity, connecting our country. It is about creating new areas of density. We cannot talk about sustainability in a housing program if we cannot create areas of density. Areas of density create demand. Demand creates job opportunity. It creates new growth pole, new tongues. And importantly, a program that lends itself to affordability. Because of the shift in our economic prospect, things can become overpriced very easily. That is why it's very important for the government to embrace a program with the private sector, creating the enabling environment with the right set of incentives that will ensure the issue of affordability is addressed.
While a transportation plan is on the cards to lead to an infrastructural network that connects communities, the head of state said discussions are also underway for the establishment of a diaspora housing fund.
There is great potential in creating a diaspora fund that can be utilized in a sector like the housing sector. And this is also under consideration at the moment, creating a diaspora housing fund. because they get 0.5% interest at prime, right, Chester? And if they have an investment that gives you even 1.5% return or 2% return, then we are creating a new market and we are creating new access to capital. This is the vision. Housing is not only about house lots and homes, you know. There is a comprehensive set of policies that has to be developed.
Further, His Excellency said that the government will pay keen attention to providing sustainable housing for Guyanese migrants returning from Venezuela and citizens in hinterland communities. For the latter, the President said subsidized housing is being pursued. Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell noted that the distribution of the titles reflects the government's commitment to fulfilling its promises.
Those promises have become reality under your government. The PPP government, which is committed to delivering to all Guyanese the dream of owning your own home. The housing challenge in Guyana is one of the most significant thrusts of the government. And we are going to ensure that the quest of every Guyanese to own his or her own is realized.
Citizens who received their titles and transports were elated, as some of them were awaiting the official documents to approach lending institutions.
$50,000 rent is not easy. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful for this. I am so happy. I was waiting for a long period and I give God grace and thanks that I got you today. I want to thank the housing ministers and I want to thank the president and the staff at work so hard for me to get my goal.
The services of the local banks, insurance companies, the Guyana Water Incorporated, internet companies and other important services were also available at the event for future home owners to take advantage. Over 2,000 transports and titles are to be distributed before year end. As the government approached Day 70, an investment of $60 million was made into the Hope Coconut Industries Limited (HCIL) to revitalize and expand its operations. Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa said the government was committed to ensuring that the Hope Estate is developed into one of the most sought-after entities within Guyana and the Caribbean. Minister Mustafa committed to revamping the estate.
As Minister of Agriculture, I want a lot of people to be involved in agriculture. Agriculture now have to become a part of our way of life in this country because too long people have been looking at agriculture as a minimal profession, a profession where only illiterate people go and do. We have to change that mentality and change that perception. And here we are today at a farm where we have a lot of intercropping, and intercropping means that a number of crops are planted together to support a large crop. So we have, this is a primary crop here is coconut. And to support the coconut production, we have other crops like bell pepper, we have pineapple and other things. So that the farmers, by the time the coconut is being produced, they will have these crops to take care of their expenses. That is why I'm encouraging young people to come into farming.
In its 2020 emergency budget, government has demonstrated its commitment to safeguarding and enhancing farmers' livelihoods by allocating 18.4 billion Guyana dollars for infrastructure development and to provide assistance to farmers everywhere. The government of Guyana is serious about value for money and ensuring that a high quality of work is delivered to the people of Guyana. Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgel has engaged contractors across the country, making it known in no uncertain terms that they are partners in Guyana's development and not hustlers trying to make a quick buck. As such, Minister Edgel outlined a list of principles contractors are expected to adhere to while executing roadworks for the government.
I want a new culture, whether it's a little village street, a major highway, or an interior road. The quality of our work must be admired and when examined must pass the test. And the test not just of the lab, but the test of appreciation of the people who we are providing that service for.
Additionally, the minister noted that the ministry will have a zero-tolerance approach to stalled works after contracts would have been signed. The minister said the PPPC administration will not continue to make mistakes of the past that encourage such practices.
Collusion between contractors and project engineers or project managers will not be tolerated.
In the meantime, significant road upgrades are on the cards for the free and easy access road which leads to the Harmony Village in Region 3. Due to the state of the road, the mode of transportation for Harmony residents is by tractor.
It's hard for residents to come and go into this community. It's hard for any kind of development to happen beyond the part where they have proper roads because you just can't get to the destination. You have to go by tractor. There's a state of disrepair. Right now, on the 20th of October, there should be an opening of a bid for the extension of this free and easy road to make it asphaltic concrete.
As the government approached its 80th day in office, the delivery of COVID-19 assistance was ramped up. Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, distributed nearly 250 COVID-19 relief food hampers to vulnerable households across Region 3. The exercise was a partnership with the private sector, which responded to President Ali's call for assistance. Providing a better quality of life for citizens was one of the main promises of the PPPC government for residents of Wauna village located in the Mabaruma sub-region. Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell met with residents with a view to directing GWI to immediately implement a temporary solution while a permanent solution will be put in place to restore water to Wauna and its environs by the beginning of 2021.
We will explore when the rigor comes to Region 1 in the new year to explore putting a well for Wauna and its environs substantively. So we do expect sometime in 2021 the issue of water for the pressure level at a high level will be solved. The intention in Mabruma is to link all of the systems coming down from Mabruma going all the way to Wauna, to all the pumping systems. The intention is to link all of them. So that is why in this year program, in the 2020 capital program for the rest of this year, is that there's a concentration to increase the reservoir, the catchment areas for where all of those, Wanaina here at Kampong, it is intended to increase the catchment area for the water so that there can be an increased pumping hours for the community of Mabruma. And so that is the intention on this year's program.
As Guyana becomes a world player in the oil and gas sector, the need has been recognized for systems to be put in place to reduce congestion at the Stabroek Market area and to ensure that order prevails. In this regard, the Minister of Home Affairs has begun meeting with stakeholders to identify the best means of resolving this issue.
It is not our fundamental interest in moving people. The fundamental interest is to bring in order, optimal efficiency and safety out there.
While the government believes that every person had the right to earn a living, it must be done in a structured way. Minister Robson Ben pointed out that aside from congestion, vending in the area also hinders fire tenders from responding to emergencies.
Which is why we wrote fire lane up and down those areas right in front of the market. So that they can be off, it can be reasonably clear, and people can know if they hear the thing, fire trucks coming, we don't have no obstruction in it, in front there. But it has degenerated, but we can look at it to come up with workable solution, but people can't be on the traveled roadways.
In the meantime, Minister Ben assured operators that he would work with the Ministry of Health to minimize the spread of COVID-19 in public spaces.
Just on the general issue of the COVID, I will work with the Ministry of Health to put down 2 or 3 tents, where there can be sanitizing supplies and masks, and the minibus people could come and get boxes. This is what I'm hoping, to be able to support the efforts you all might make by yourselves to improve the situation, to stop the spread of the pandemic. When people going in your minibus, they should expect it to be clean, and they should expect the driver and the conductor will have on a mask, and that they should be having a mask too, which they should wear properly.
The stakeholders meeting is the first of a series which will be held to effectively address the congestion in the Stabroek Market area.
Government has made significant strides in delivering on its promises to the people. There is more to come, so join us for our 5th and final installment of government's first 100 days in office. I am Gomiti Gagadin. Join me right here as we zero in on those 100 days in office. Goodbye for now.